Hey guys, and welcome to the Fish Room. I'm Rachel O'Leary, and today is Thursday, and as you can see, this place is a mess. But do you know what the hardest thing about YouTube is for me? It's that I have to turn off my music when I'm working in order to film for you guys. So right now I am just packing up a few last minute orders, and then I'm going to clean up down here, and then if the weather holds out, work on some mock-ups outside. Been having a lot of problems getting those done lately because every day when I'm done my work down here, I go upstairs and it's pouring down rain. Since I keep all my hardscape materials outside, that's a pretty big obstacle for getting the mock-ups done. So for those of you who have been waiting, I really appreciate it. I can't control the weather, and I have to do orders first because they're paid for. So lots of stuff has been going on. I added some Sowelia to the 150. I'll show you guys that in a little bit. And I basically just did that because the group I got in is so nice. I'm hoping that they'll spawn while in the 150, which would be pretty epic. I have bred Sowelia a few times before, and their babies are just so cute and look so different from the adults that, you know, I just want to see if they'll do it on their own in this tank. Right now everything is exhibiting spawning behavior, so I figured it was a good time to put them in there. Sometimes when you're trying to breed fish, if something else in the tank starts spawning, then everybody does it. Maybe it's hormones, who knows, but it acts as a trigger. And with all the rain we've been getting, it's really not that surprising that things are spawning all over the fish room. So I hosted a party this past weekend for 2 planted clubs. Guapa, which is the Washington area planted club, and a New Jersey area planted club. And each group drove over 3 hours to be here. It was super fun. We roasted a pig. We had an auction. I gave a little impromptu lecture on summer tubbing. And then we hung out and drank some adult beverages and ate a lot of food. Now, I think what I'm going to start doing is doing a couple open houses a year, because I know there is a ton of people that would love to come visit here. And with how demanding my schedule is, it's not that easy. It's not that easy to make appointments all the time. So maybe we'll start doing that. I don't have a whole lot of travel planned in the next few months, and that's because you guys, if you've been watching for a while, have heard me talk about my husband and his eye condition. He has a condition called iridocorneal endothelial syndrome, or ICE, and he has had transplant on his cornea about 3 years ago, which failed, unfortunately, after about 2 years, and we've just been trying to keep him going. His eye is completely blind. It also has lost its normal coloration, and it also does not track with the other eye, so cosmetically speaking, he's very uncomfortable. He also has a significant amount of pain and discomfort. The eye is totally blind, and the meds cost us $800 a month. So the moral of the story is he's having his eye removed in September. And while we've met our deductible for insurance, unfortunately it doesn't look like insurance is really going to be covering the prosthetic eye, which costs about $3,500. He's also going to have to miss about 6 weeks of work, which means I can't travel. I think I've canceled every trip but one, and that's because it's to Canada and it's been scheduled for a really long time. I have to be here to not only care for my family, but also maintain a level of income, because disability just doesn't pay. Yay, United States healthcare. Anyway, I had hoped to go a bunch of different places this fall, but it just doesn't look like that's going to happen. So that means more time for videos for you guys. So let me know below what sort of stuff you'd like to see me do this fall. I have a project I've been putting off forever to start for you guys. I don't know why I haven't gotten it done, which is sort of an adaptation of a wabikusa. might work on that pretty soon. Once the weather is not quite so hot, I will work on repotting all my carnivorous plants, and we are actively engaged in getting the rest of the materials for my greenhouse. And the greenhouse has a few purposes. I would like to have a good place to overwinter all my carnivorous plants and pond plants. I would also like to have a place to grow vegetables. Our yard is full of mature trees and just is no good for growing vegetables. The first few years we lived here, it was great, and then all the trees grew up and, you know, just not enough sun. So we've cleared a lot of the stuff, the bushes and trees from the area where we're going to put the greenhouse. You may be noticing I hand catch the plecos. That's because they have like little spikes that often get stuck in nets, so even when I'm catching them in aquariums, I generally hand catch them. You get used to it, you know where to grab them. So yeah, that's what's coming up. Pretty soon here, I'm working on clearing a bunch of tanks so that I can do another direct import order and get in a bunch of new fish. There's all kinds of stuff I'd like to work with. Let me know below what kind of fish spotlights you guys would like to see. Keep in mind I prefer to keep them under 2 inches. I think I may focus on some more goby species next time. Not entirely sure. We'll have to see. There's just so many fish that I love. It's hard for me to narrow down what I want to get when the time comes. What I'm doing here is I already have the fish all in clean water. I have little pieces of polyfilter in each container just to absorb ammonia during the trip, and then I bag with enough water to cover the fish and give them a little bit of swimming room, and then 2/3 air to 1/3 water. So you can see. And for the most part, I rarely have any problems shipping critters. You know, it's a pretty steep learning curve when you're trying to do this stuff. I've been doing it now for, I guess I've been shipping for about 12 years. So you sort of figure out what works and what doesn't. You also notice I knot the bags instead of using rubber bands. That's simply because I suck at tying rubber bands. And I rarely have leakers, so this has worked out well for me. I don't usually ship on Thursdays. I've told you guys that before, but I do make exceptions for those of you that have a tough schedule that don't allow for weekday deliveries or can't get to a FedEx or don't have a FedEx that's particularly local. So this is the last ones I need to bag up, and then we'll take a look around the fish room and I'll show you how some of the fish are doing. Last week this place was spotless. It looked fantastic. This week, not so much. I had a very, very busy shipping week this week, and it gets trashed in here. So I would say the mess level is at an advanced state. I especially want to show you guys how the 150 looks with all these new fish. I know I showed you briefly last week, but I'm really excited to get in the last fish that I want to have to put in here so that it's fully stocked. I figure this tank's been running for almost 2 years now, and I still don't have it stocked. I like to think of this tank as a marathon, not a sprint. Everything that goes into my 150 is quarantined for at least 6 months, and that's for a few reasons. One is that it's a lot of volume of water. If I would have to medicate, it would be extremely expensive. And a lot of the fish in there were difficult for me to get or are particularly sensitive fishes, so I don't want to have to use medication. Especially, yes, I don't want to have to use meds. So let's take a quick look and I'll show you. Since adding all these larger fish, the dace and those 2 male rainbow shiners, as well as the Kyathit danios, which are sort of stripy dudes with the orange fins. That's a rainbow shiner. Those are the dace.
And these are the Kayathet. The entire tank has just become super active. The white clouds have always been active, but everybody keeps going up into this section here and just spawning like crazy. There must be wicked good caviar over there. But I added today some Soelia linealata, which are a hill stream loach. That guy on the rock there with the reticulated pattern on his back. You know, they're a classic. They've been around for a long time. They're not that hard to get. They're not that expensive. But I just think they're absolutely gorgeous. And I'm really hoping that they're going to set up shop in here and breed like crazy for you guys. And trigger the gastromyzon viriosus I have in here to spawn, which are one of my favorites, but I haven't been able to get them going in this tank, which really surprises me. They are at maturity now, so any time could work. You can see this female Kayathet. Well, no, we can't. The white clouds, since I added all those bigger fish, have taken up a new territory in the aquarium. Over here by the outflow is where they generally hang out, and sometimes they creep over there. For the most part, these boisterous guys take up that middle third, and then the smaller guys stay up more up towards the top left, and then all the loaches are all over the place. And the tank's just super, super fun to look at, watch, and enjoy. Definitely well worth all the time and effort I've put into it. I wish I had a female rainbow shiner. I need to get some. Use those dace. They were fired up in breeding dress yesterday. Their colors change entirely. Really cool fish. They get a metallic shimmer. I think there's 2 pair in here, though I'm not entirely sure. Again, these aren't a fish that I purchased. These were ones I took as a rescue from a customer, which is not something I generally do. Kayathet again. They're over here going in and out of that wood and these plant mats, just spawning like mad. Every once in a while you'll see them do like a C-type embrace, and then she drops eggs. That one pair in particular have been attached at the hip. Here's a better shot of the linealata. I think they're just really, really gorgeous fish. And they're already loving this tank. Now we're in the rarely seen, extremely messy portion of my office. I have no excuse other than that by the time I'm done working with fish all day, the last thing I feel like doing is cleaning up my office. So it is bad. So I'm just packing up a few orders, then I'll weigh the boxes. Then I will create a label, send the email tracking, and then hopefully clean up my mess, which I won't subject you guys to watching. So I've shown you guys how I pack before. I use this insulation and then newspaper, and then I pack everything up with extra newspaper so that I make sure it doesn't shift around in the boxes. I like to use white boxes because I feel like they're handled a little gentler. Whether or not that's true, I don't know, but I've had very, very few issues with damaged boxes over the years. I mean, I can probably count them on one hand. So something's working. I don't know if it's my packaging or the box color. And then I use custom-made stickers for the outside of the box. Try and make my packaging stick out a little bit from the bulk of the packaging out there, especially in today's day and age of Amazon Prime, where there's so much stuff being shipped. If your packaging looks a little different, perhaps it gets handled a little different. Again, just a theory. So I do all that, I close it up, tuck it down. What's really sad is that this is that messy for my office. It's bad, but it's not that bad. These are the stickers I use. Basically just saying that live fish are contained, which is required for labeling of most carriers. You're supposed to put that. Chose a green sticker just because I think it's bright and makes them pay attention. That was... And then I label the box with whose order it is so I don't forget when I go to make my labels, since all of my packaging materials look about the same and I use 2 standardized sizes of boxes. I do have larger boxes available for when I do wholesale for stores and things like that. But for the most part, this box size and the 1 step down work out pretty darn well, especially for working with nano fish, as they don't require large bags. Anyway, let me know what kind of projects you guys want to see, what kind of content you've been looking for from me. I know quite a few of you have said you'd like to see me just set up an aquarium, like the thought process that goes into setting up a new tank. I can certainly do that. One of the reasons I haven't is because you guys have seen my fish room. The vast majority of the tanks have been running forever, and I just quite frankly haven't set up any new ones. That being said, I think I might break down a few tanks, and if you remember months and months ago, my friends from the Zebrafish Research Center sent me a rack. Thinking about breaking down my little crystal red planted tank, as well as the other tanks in that row, and setting that rack up there to use as a shrimp QT system, because it has lots and lots of little containers, all that would be on a central system to provide a ton of dilution, and they're clear, so it'd be great for observation. However, I am kind of attached to that aquarium, as it was my first real attempt at an actual planted aquarium. So who knows. I've also thought about breaking down my living room aquarium. You guys know the little fluval speck. It's a beautiful tank, but I could do something different up there, put something bigger in. I don't know. As always, thank you so much for your continued support. I am thinking about going live again on YouTube sometime very soon. Let me know below what days and times work best for you, and if you say a time, make sure you let me know what time zone. The best time of day for me is probably not the best time of day for most of you. For me, Thursdays or Fridays are best in the early afternoon, but I could make an exception and turn the lights on down here at my nighttime. I am Eastern Standard Zone time zone. So let me know. Let me know what time you guys would like to see me go live. Make sure you stop by my Instagram, Facebook, and website. Right now, I just ended a giveaway of plants on my Instagram. Thinking about starting to go through some of my equipment and planted tanks and thinning out some of the things that I either no longer need or have never used, or just making up some plant packages and doing Facebook and Instagram specific giveaways. I will likely never do a giveaway on YouTube, but through the other social medias it could be kind of fun. Let me know below what you think of that, and I'll see you guys on Sunday.